Hey kids, Treacle here, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm discussing and rating one of Mariah's biggest albums, Music Box. A brief reminder, I'm going through each of Mariah's studio albums and rating them on my preference on songs, lyrics, vocals, unity, and longevity. So join in with me. We're going to give the album a rating out of 10 on each of those categories and then see how we get on. Let's compare. I don't have any specific memories of this album other than it was one of the first ones that I owned of Mariah's. It is a monster smash because of the hits Dream Lover, Hero, Without You, Anytime You Need a Friend. These are some of her biggest hits internationally, particularly in Europe for some of them. So it is a beast to be reckoned with, and those are my memories of it. When I picked up the album, it felt like I knew half the album anyway from singles and the success they had. So I only had a few of the album tracks to look forward to. The first category is songs, and this is simply how much I enjoy the songs on the album. And if you're joining in, then it's how much you enjoy the songs on the album. So mad respect for the big hits from the album, as I said. I do enjoy Dream Lover. I really love what she did with Without You. Hero, I can never argue with. It's one of her biggest signature tracks. Anytime You Need a Friend is amazing. I absolutely love that. I particularly love, well, I used to love, I still do, but All I've Ever Wanted. When I first discovered this album, I was obsessed with All I've Ever Wanted so much. I also really enjoy and appreciate Never Forget You. I do enjoy the extended version more than the album version, but I love it. And in my video, I'm going to include Everything Fades Away because when I got this album, it was there because it was the European bonus track and I'm from UK. It's the version that I grew up with, and Everything Fades Away is so haunting, so beautiful. I'm going to include it. So there are so many songs on this album that I love. They're not my favorite Mariah songs, but I do love them dearly, and I'm going to give Songs for Music Box a 7.5. The second category is lyrics. So this is reflecting on the lyrics within the songs on the album. If you are just sat and reading through them, how well everything just kind of jumps out to you, how you connect to it. Lyrically, Music Box is not my favorite album. I think it's a little bit maybe middle of the road. It's very commercial. It is very 90s pop, very commercial, as I say. There's nothing that's really revealing, nothing deeply personal. I want to say at times it almost sounds like anyone could have written them, not Mariah, but they're fantastic because it was Mariah that wrote the songs. But lyrically, there's moments that I appreciate, but there's nothing that I really out and out connect to. So call me mean, I don't know. But I'm gonna give it a 6.5 because it is good songwriting and it's Mariah, so it's gotta be, you know, above a 5, of course. But lyrics, 6.5. Next up is vocals. Now for me, this album is belts. There are some really strong belting vocals, which I always love from Mariah. Now a lot of people say that they love Mariah in her prime, her heyday. 90s Mariah is what we are all married to in our hearts, many of us, depending when you met her music and what you grew up with. And when those types of fans, those types of people hark back to classic Mariah, this is one of the albums they're talking about. There are some really strong vocals. I have to give it an 8.5 because this is Mariah in her prime. It was a big moment for her. The songs were incredible. The vocal performances were incredible. I have to give it an 8.5. Unity is next, and for this I consider how well does everything sit together as a single body of work. Is it an album that I like to listen to from start to finish? How often do I listen to this album as a whole? Now this album, the song that for me doesn't quite fit in is I've Been Thinking About You. I don't know why, it just kind of takes me out of the Music Box fantasy for a moment. But overall, Unity, I'll give it a 7.5 because in general, I will listen to Music Box top to bottom. When I think about longevity, I'm considering how well the album has stood the test of time, how much I enjoy it years later, and the impact it's had on music and pop culture and everything of that nature. So, Dream Lover, people still know and love. I think it's something Mariah's wrested from her repertoire of late. If she were to bring it back, it might be a fun, nostalgic moment because people seem to really still enjoy Dream Lover. But Without You is huge for her in Europe. She cannot come over to the UK and not perform Without You. She simply has to. I wish that Anytime You Need a Friend got a little bit more airtime from Mariah in her recent set lists. Maybe that's due for a comeback. I think it's something that a lot of people would appreciate her doing again. And I mean, come on. This is the album that Hero comes from. Mariah has made, I don't know how much money off of Hero, but considering this was a song that she wrote for someone else originally and then was advised to hold back because it's a little bit too good, a little bit too special, she didn't even write it for her own catalogue, her own career. And when you think of Mariah Carey, you think of Hero. So I mean, this album has spawned so many monster hits. It really has stood the test of time. It's going to be a solid 8 out of 10 for longevity. So if I've done my maths correctly, that places Music Box at a solid 38 out of 50, which places it above the debut and above Emotion. So at the top of my leaderboard, so far it is the #1 album, in my own humble opinion. Before we finish, as you know, if you've been watching thus far, you know that we have to discuss 2 more things. First of all, a repeat. If I were to repeat one song from the album, it's going to be Anytime You Need a Friend. If you asked me 10 years ago, it quite possibly would have been All I've Ever Wanted because it's a massive ballad of Mariah's that she's never performed live. It doesn't really get discussed much, and I just love that vocal so much. But all things considered, the song, the message, I know the remixes, they're set, but I have to kind of park them, you know, to one side. But Anytime You Need a Friend, if I had to pick one song to repeat, that's it. And my skip, I kind of alluded to it earlier. If I had to choose one song to skip when I listen to the album, and possibly sometimes I have, it is going to be I've Been Thinking About You. It's fun, it's cute, but it's a little bit boring to me. A little bit boring. Sorry. Yeah, I can live without it. So I'm scoring Music Box a total of 38 out of 50. My repeat would be Anytime You Need a Friend, and my skip would be I've Been Thinking About You. Let me know in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with. Remember, it's all done with love. We all have our own opinions, and I respect that. But I'm very interested to know what you think, especially about your repeat and your skip. I'm not sure if I'll do the Merry Christmas album next or skip that and go ahead to Daydream. I originally thought I would go in order, so I would be doing Merry Christmas next, but it feels very early in the year to be listening to Christmas music. So I don't know if I would do better and give the albums like better justice if I saved the Christmas albums for a little bit later in the year, because there were 2 Christmas albums, so I don't want to do them over the summer, you know, and do it too. I don't know. I'm undecided, so I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. So sat here right now, I don't know. The next one could be Merry Christmas. It could be Daydream, and I save Merry Christmas. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me. Check back again soon for another video. Subscribe so you don't miss out, and I will see you again soon. Cheers. Thanks a lot.